Hi, my name is Dan Burgard and I worked with Jim Oker in this Science Stories project. I am an environmental analytical chemistry at the University of Puget Sound, and the field that I work in is called wastewater-based epidemiology. Pictures you see here are with one of my students, Catherine Ginsberg, as we were investigating sewers on our own campus, trying to look for specific molecules, specific drugs, and drug use on our campus. The thing that got me into this field was one of my students had talked about how, everyone's taking Adderall on campus. I didn't really know what Adderall was, but it turned out if you look to the popular media, you could find that there was a lot of mention about smart drugs and the good grade pill. And while my students said everyone was doing it, I was maybe not so sure that was true. But about the same time, I had read a paper about some researchers in Italy who had used water from the River Po and also from a wastewater treatment plant to look for specific compounds involved with drug use, illicit drug use. So if someone uses cocaine, that is the molecule there from cocaine, but what comes out of the person, what's excreted, is its metabolite benzylecgonine. And so if you find this compound, you know that the water or the sample in the water has been consumed. And so this then set me on a new adventure to go looking for compounds, pharmaceuticals, illicit drugs, and other things in wastewater to get an understanding of community drug use. If you haven't thought about how wastewater moves throughout a community, we have individual houses. They have sewers that are hooked up to the main, and for the most part, we use just good old gravity to get sewage down to the wastewater treatment plant. If the sewage runs into a hill, there's a pump station that pushes it up and over, but then again back to a wastewater treatment plant, typically located near a body of water so that the effluent, once treated, can leave. Sampling can occur at the wastewater treatment plant. There are little mini samplers here that pull up a sample every so often over a 24-hour period. There are also samplers that can be deployed into a manhole if you want to sample further upstream. Once you have a sample, we typically freeze them at minus 20 degrees Celsius, and we have 3 of these freezers in our labs that contain samples, archived samples, and current samples that we are about to measure. We then defrost it, and here's a defrosted sample. You can see it's mostly water, but there's some other things in there. And then we do an extraction. What this is showing here, this picture, is these are extraction tubes that have some chemically sticky compound at the bottom that we can run milliliters or even a liter of water through, wastewater through, and the interesting compounds will stick to this chemical sorbent and the water will go on through. That both cleans up the sample and concentrates it because the things we're looking for are at the part per billion or part per trillion levels. So very, very small amounts, very small amounts. This particular sample here is from a porta potty. That's the blue color here that they are often dyed this blue. So we can look in all sorts of samples. Then the sample moves on to a fancy mass spectrometer, and the mass spectrometer puts out a chromatographic peak here, and these peaks then are indicative of particular compounds. So this one here has is amphetamine. Amphetamine has a certain mass, and the mass spectrometer can isolate it from all the other compounds that are in a very complicated sample like wastewater. And so what I have here then are 3 different examples of results we've gotten from this wastewater-based approach. We did go looking to see if everyone was using Adderall on our campus, and we see that there is an increase, nearly 8-fold increase over the first week of school during our finals here. We find that if we go looking in cities, we can find individual festivals. So here's high use of MDMA or ecstasy at 2 different events over a baseline here. And then also we can go looking to see how legislation might have changed use. And so when the state of Washington, recreational cannabis was legalized in the state of Washington, we can see that although the increase in sales go up and up and up here with the light gray bar, that for the most part, the consumption has a modest increase. So these are the sorts of things that you can learn from wastewater-based epidemiology. What I really liked about working with Jim on this project was his use of the water droplets and the way of using these water droplets to sort of think about all the things that could be contained in that water, which is what I'm thinking about every day. But he does a very nice job of with pictures representing in these water droplets, whether they're ocean water whether they're wastewater, whether they're river water, all the different compounds that could be in there. It's really fun to see that play out. Thanks for listening.